Hello everyone, I am Arpita Grath from Sem 3 ICT department, and today I am here to explain my conceptualization topic of subject Introduction to Communication Engineering, that is AM and FM. So let's start. First of all, what is modulation? So the modulation is a process of converting data into radio waves by adding information to an electronic or optical carrier signal. A carrier signal is one with steady waveform which has constant height, amplitude and frequency, which is shown here. Information can be added to the carrier by varying its amplitude, frequency and phase. As you can see in the figure, the amplitude and frequency is varied due to information is added. And modulation is mainly applied in electromagnetic signals such as radio waves, laser optics, and computer networks. Now, why to do modulation? So, the carrier wave used by radio frequency transmission does not carry much information itself. To include speech or data, another wave has to be superimposed on the carrier wave, thus changing the shape of the carrier wave by modulation. The process of doing so is called modulation, and to transmit sound, the audio signal must first be converted into electric signal using a transducer. And after conversion, it is used to modulate a carrier signal. Now, next is what is amplitude modulation? So, amplitude modulation is one of the modulation technique used for electronic communication. In this modulation, height is varied of carrier signal to represent that data is being added, and use of it is done in communication between aircraft and ground control. As you can see in figure, the first one is the message signal, second one is the carrier signal, which is steady in amplitude and frequency, and the last one is amplitude modulation signal. So the information is added in the third signal that you can see now. Advantages and disadvantages of amplitude modulation. So advantages, the first advantage is the cost is low. It is reflected by earth from ionosphere. uh, it travels long distance and cover wide area, and the required carrier frequency is low, and the demodulation of this signal is less complex due to uh, disadvantages are first of one is highly susceptible to peripheral noises. Filtering is difficult because filtering of noise and the signal is very difficult at the receiver side, and by this it affects the quality of audio signal, and receiver requires complex arrangement due to improvement of the quality of audio signal, and it is less efficient in terms of bandwidth usage. Next is what is frequency modulation. It is one of the modulation technique used to transfer information through signal. The frequency of the carrier signal is varied to reflect the frequency of data. As you can see in figure, the second figure with red signal, you can see the frequency is varied, and it is not similar to carrier signal. And for short range like 10 miles or more, frequency modulation is used in radio broadcasting. Now, advantages and disadvantages of frequency modulation. So, the first advantage is amplitude does not get affected in frequency modulation. Second is decreases the noise by increasing the frequency deviation, which is one of the advantage against amplitude modulation. It operates in VHF, very high frequency. Uh, it reduces interference of channels through guard band. So filtering is easy and noise is less. And it does not require linear amplifier in the transmitter. Now disadvantages are that it can't cover large areas as amplitude modulation and is used for short distance such as radio broadcasting and etc. Transmitting and receiving equipments are very complex in frequency modulation. Wider channel are required, which is more than 200 kilohertz, which is very high, and antenna need to be closely placed to get proper signal without noise. So that are the advantages and disadvantages of frequency modulation. Thank you.